controversial stories of the day. This is the Fox News Rundown. More coming up.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
We'll speak national defense and the Middle East with Admiral Chuck Williams. And at 5:20, school choice with Chris DeGaulle of readline.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
You can't get food like this in Paris. Bring the family for breakfast and brunch to Nadine's Hash House, offering home-style cooked meals the way your mother made them. Try the savory Southside Slinger, the cinnamon streusel pancakes, or Nadine's famous hash. Make sure to follow Nadine's Hash House on Facebook for weekly specials. Open today from 7 to 1:30 in Soulard on Broadway. Nadine's Hash House. You can't get food like this in Paris. Nadine'sHashHouse.com.
Tim Jones here for AMF Electric, in business since 1965, offering a full line of industrial, commercial, residential, electrical, and system services. AMF is a merit shop. They work successfully for all owners who favor freedom of economic choice. Yes, even on other AFL trades jobs. At AMF Electric, they're unabashedly pro-American. Call them, 314-647-4066. Online, amfelectric.com. That's amfelectric.com.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. Car Shield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Thursday, one former military leader who publicly despises Donald Trump is retired Admiral William McRaven. He served his country honorably under Presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama. Writing in the Wall Street Journal this week, the Admiral outlines his support for Kamala Harris. Quote, "You may not like her policies, her followers, or her vision for America, but Ms. Harris won't threaten the press, demean immigrants, mock those who have died for the country, break with our allies, or undermine the Constitution." Unquote from Admiral McRaven. While the Admiral has certainly earned the right to put forth a sharp political viewpoint, he betrays himself when he peddles a falsehood that as president, Mr. Trump mocked dead American soldiers. That accusation was put forth by the Hate Trump Atlantic magazine using an anonymous source. The libel has been widely discredited by people like John Bolton, no fan of Trump's. McRaven doesn't have to use sleight of hand. He has made it very clear he thinks Trump is terrible. But why spread defamation, Admiral? You weren't present in France, where the Trump vet statement allegedly occurred. You cannot possibly verify that it even happened. Cowardly anonymous snipers are not valid sources. Responsible people have a responsibility to be responsible, to overuse the R word. Let's get back to that. Back after this. Are you feeling the impact of the recent changes in the timeshare industry? My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you. For more than a decade, they have successfully helped over 20,000 owners get out of their timeshare with an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. Customer service is their priority. For a free consultation and a guaranteed solution, 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. We have issued a First Alert weather day for overnight tonight. Thinking 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. in St. Louis as a squall line moves through. We'll watch for a isolated severe storm or two. As the storms push east, it will dry out and cool off for our Halloween, so it will be dry for trick-or-treating. Morning temps around the mid-60s. Won't warm up much from there. Afternoon, upper 60s. By trick-or-treat time in the evening after sunset, we'll drop into the 50s. It'll be a cooler and breezy day for sure. A lot of sunshine Friday, though. Cool and 63 for the high. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Staff Sergeant Mark Anthony Madrid.
Staff Sergeant Samantha Cowell.
I'm Staff Sergeant Alex
Staff
Steele.
Sergeant William Lewis, and I am proud to defend my family and our nation.
The Air Force Reserve is part of the story of this great nation.
I'm grateful that I have a chance to wear the uniform of the heroes that went before me.
I'm proud to be part of a team that helps make a difference in the world.
Every day, men and women from communities across this nation serve as reserve citizen airmen. Even as technology evolves and changes, our commitment to defend and protect this nation remains steadfast. We celebrate those who have served and those who are proudly serving. We celebrate our proud history and look towards an exciting and uniting future. Our mission is to fly, fight, and win in air, space, and cyberspace.
And I am proud to be a member. And I'm proud to serve in the United States.
And I am proud to protect our country.
Proud to serve in the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Another ballot issue that's not getting as much attention is Prop A on the Missouri side. That's the one dealing with minimum wage and also requiring businesses to give all of their employees paid time off, free time off, regardless of whether they're part-time or full-time or whatever the status is. You've probably seen the ads for this, right? You know, the school nurse calls the mom and the little girl is sick, which means she can't go to work. And so catastrophes ensue because we don't have Prop A in place. Okay, what's the reality? What's the reality for workers? What's the reality for small businesses? We're going to dig into that at 8:05. Hey, good morning. Mike Ferguson here. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of your week, as always. Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe, he is just about to be elected governor on Tuesday. He stopped by on yesterday's program and gave us a preview of what a Kehoe administration is going to look like. And it sounds something like this. We're looking at what does a Kehoe administration look like in the leadership. And I've got some questions that people have sent in. Sure. Obviously, the last couple of sessions been a lot of disappointment in what has not been done, both on the legislative side and not. So what's the new era of Missouri's government going to look like with you as governor as far as rebuilding relationships, having that conservative teamwork to get some of these, as we like to call them, big red things done in 2025 and beyond?
Well, sure. Well, I know everybody, I don't take anything for granted. So we have to win on Tuesday. I've been listening to the show and what you guys are saying, but we're going to work all the way hard to the finish line. To answer your question, if we're fortunate enough, blessed enough to have Missourians pick us for the next administration, I think you'll see a very different style of relationship. I'm a big fan of Mike Parson. I wouldn't be here without him. I think Governor Parson has got us to a good spot and a great footing in this state, economic-wise, and some other things. But I'm a relationship person that has built relationships with many House and Senate members. I'm from the Senate arena, so we're going to see a much different leadership there and some different Senate members in the Senate. And I believe we can work together to make that happen. The future Speaker of the House is Dr. Patterson out of Kansas City. First time Kansas City's had a Speaker since the Civil War, by the way. And another record, I believe the pro tem of the Senate will be Cindy O'Loughlin, small business person from Shelbina. She's the first woman pro tem of the Senate. I'm working with both of those folks on a daily and weekly basis on what our agenda is going to look like and what I can do to help them move their agenda. It's never easy, but if God gave me one gift, it's the ability to build relationships and work through some tough situations, and we plan to do that.
A lot of conservatives and Republicans, the people on the right, feel as though Mike Parson didn't really utilize the bully pulpit aspect of the governorship as well as he could have, and sort of, leading the Republican Party as a whole to these big red things, to these victories. How do you plan to do things a little differently?
Well, we have different styles of management, and people are different. And my background coming from inner city St. Louis and moving all the way to being a first generation farmer, several small businesses, creating hundreds of jobs. I just have a different kind of outlook on how to manage different people. And I plan to use all the tools we can to get our agenda done. Our agenda, as everybody knows, is crime, economy, education, and agriculture. And I'm happy to talk about any of those four. But the House and Senate always have agendas that's important to their members, too. And I think that's the difference, is we have to find out what it is that's important to their members. I believe we'll obviously have the majority of Republicans in both the House and Senate. That's a good thing. So working with them to make sure we understand what's on their needs and building those relationships, I think I'm optimistic that we can get some good conservative wins.
Let me start with the crime aspect of it. I actually had a text last night said, hey, you're interviewing, Governor Kehoe. Can you ask about this? In St. Louis in particular, obviously, I mean, you can get all the questions about the reporting and whether they're accurate or not. Is it time for the state to take over the police department and put it back under state control? And if yes or if no, what's the right way to address this? Because it's not even just about the safety of the city. It's affecting every other aspect of the economy of the region.
I don't think there's any if to it. The state needs to get back involved in the St. Louis Police Department. I've been a very vocal proponent of that. The cops who have been with me since day one, a very vocal proponent of that. I'm from the city, as I mentioned earlier. I believe that we can do some things that we were able to do under state control. Still working with local representatives, by the way, on that state control board. You don't have the state take over, get back state control, I shouldn't say, like Kansas City does now, and you put somebody on from St. Joe. I mean, you're going to use local leaders to be on that police board that understand how important crime is, how important it is to our economy, and that Missourians and St. Louisans want to walk their neighborhoods again.
And I've had a couple of people send in questions regarding a discussion of a Missouri taxpayer bill of rights. Are you supportive of something legislatively like that? And if so, what should it look like?
Yeah, well, the first piece that we want to move on, and absolutely, because since I've been in the legislature, we have moved our tax rate from 6% to 4.7%. So anytime I could, I've always supported the tax cuts. We've supported over $2.4 billion in tax cuts. Putting money back in Missourians' pockets is better every day of the week because they can spend it better than any elected official can. Part of our economic development platform is eventually getting that state income tax from 4.7% down to zero. We believe there's a responsible path to do that without cutting essential services. And again, Missourians will be much better off if they choose to spend the money how they want to, and our economy will be much better off.
And of course, we're kind of, I would say, in the midst of is it too much to say an infrastructure rebuild through much of the state? I don't think I'm overstating it when you look at the roads, the bridges, especially the I-70 project, particularly in Boonville, which is crucial to St. Louis as well. How do you assess where we're at and how the money is stacking up coming in and going out?
Well, we were 49th or 50th, depending on which year you looked at it, in center lane funding per mile in the United States, but we're right here in the middle of the transportation hub. The legislature has moved, and with the governor's support and others, record funding into transportation to do the I-70 project, 6 lanes in both directions. The Roadport Bridge at Boonville was a big piece of that, to your point. They've also put money into the I-44 corridor from Springfield to Joplin, another critical spot of our state. And I think it's really good is that rural legislators and the governor and myself as a first-generation farmer understand how important our letter routes are. So this is the third year in a row that they put $100 million into letter route repairs to get those products to market for the farmers, Missouri family farms. And so is our infrastructure funding is much better than it was 4 or 5 years ago.
And we're not in the red at this point.
No, we're definitely not in the red.
Okay, so let me go through kind of a rapid fire on some of the things that we know are going to come back up. We're seeing tiny little bits of step in progress on something on school choice. What is the ideal policy for school choice or education freedom in Missouri?
A huge bill that was passed last year, Senate Bill 727. I give a lot of credit to Andrew Canning from right here in St. Louis. Senator Canning is termed out, but he has been a champion on education. Expanded the dollar amount for our ESAs, education savings amount, all while putting funding into teacher pay and other areas for our public schools. But we have to look at it. The school district system in Missouri is so different at 550-ish public schools. Some are rock stars and they're graduating kids that are ready to go in the workforce or they're ready to go into the next step of education. Some are struggling. So holding schools accountable to make sure that we get the product that we need and kids are ready to go into be productive and letting parents have choice, I think, is still the steps that we need to do. We expanded charter just a little bit in that bill, specifically in the Columbia area. So continuing to look at how charter schools can play a role and continuing to give parents choice in education, I think is the way Missouri needs to go.
We have a number of other issues on the ballot, amendments and props and everything like that. And Amendment 3 is a big focus for us around here. You can tell we're very passionate about that. Now, is there a game plan that, heaven forbid, this thing gets through? What do we do? What do you do from the governor's office to sort of deal with that situation?
First of all, thank you for being No on 3, and to your listeners, No on 3. I'm telling you, we travel Missouri a lot, and the No on 3 effort and the grassroots effort against, now I just saw an article in the paper this morning, $31 million from outside money has now come in. I tell Missourians all the time, if you're not sure about 3, when you see $31 million spent from the East Coast, that should be a huge red flag. There's something wrong here. So I hope and pray, and there's a lot of great grassroots people. The No on 3 Coalition, led by John Heck here in St. Louis, is making great strides, that it fails. Unfortunately, and I would say catastrophically for life, if it passes, we are going to have to work on finding ways to protect innocent life in the Missouri legislature. But one key piece to that will be continuing to work with our pregnancy resource centers across the state. Here in St. Louis, you have Thrive and others that are fantastic. We need to make sure they have the tools to understand how important it is to communicate to these ladies now about women's health and how important it is to protect that baby's life that they're considering. And so I think the immediate step would be go to pregnancy resource centers and make sure that we're doing what we need to do to help them get protecting life.
Okay, now this also is highlighting the frustration that so many conservatives are having with the failure of initiative petition reform over the last couple of years. I mean, do you think this will be, for lack of a better term, enough of a kick in the backside to Republicans to say, stop finding ways to argue in the playground and get this actually done? If you took the vote, it would pass easily. They just couldn't get it done.
That's the number one issue that is on the conservative agenda that I hear from most conservatives, I should say. I've supported initiative petition reform. I sat in the Senate presiding over it where I saw it just get to the 1 yard line and then all of a sudden we fumbled the ball. It should be harder to put a question on our ballot to change our Constitution. Look at the amendments that are on there now. And look at the ones we've had in the past. We definitely need to make sure that people still have access to the ballot. I don't want to cut access off, but I don't want us to be a state where just million or billionaires can come in and put anything on the ballot they want.
Speaking of the amendments, Amendment 7, your thoughts regarding those two third rail issues of ranked choice voting and non-citizens?
I'm not a fan of ranked choice voting. I had somebody who's a very good friend of mine call me the other day and said, why is this on the ballot? Only U.S. citizens can vote. I said, listening, it's happening in other states. And people are shocked to hear that. I was with Governor Youngkin just the other day where their DMV in Virginia, you've seen this in the news, when you come in to get a driver's license, they're registering you to vote no matter where you're from. So I haven't met anybody that doesn't agree that only a U.S. citizen should be able to vote. So it's a yes on 7 for me.
All right, we're visiting with Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe. I know you just got another minute or so because you got somebody else wanting your time here. Now, when we look at the 2025 legislative session, I mean, obviously, the tone is going to be as important. And you touched on this a little bit. I just want to follow up. The tone is going to be as important as the bills that are filed because starting January 1st, God knows what's going to be filed and pre-filing on there. You never know. There's all kinds of crazy
usually a
stuff.
landslide.
It is, but setting that tone, I mean, is there more of a concerted effort, especially with those who have been in disagreement, whether it's Freedom Caucus or some of the more mainline, because there's some static between the incoming speaker and the Freedom Caucus already on some things. And so is there more of a concerted effort on the Republican caucus to say, listen, we got to have a game plan. Let's figure out what we can move forward and fight over the stuff that is more ancillary?
Yeah, I've served with many people in the legislature that are not in there now that could have been, and they were conservative, Freedom Caucus like-minded people, but they also understood that moving the conservative agenda is very important as well. So we've got to, and I'll work with anybody who wants to in the Republican Party to say, I understand your strong positions, but let's help each other get somewhere on this. So the number one thing, by the way, I think you need to keep government out of people's lives. I'm a small business guy. I don't need government telling me what to do every day, and Missourians don't either. But in areas where we can help them out, like initiative petition reform and infrastructure and some of those education reform opportunities, we need to make sure we all understand what our common goal is, agree to that, and then move that forward. I believe there's a way. It won't be easy, and I'm not saying there's a magic wand that I'm going to work with Senate leadership and House leadership and the members of each of those bodies to make sure everybody understands the common good is to have a win for the conservative in Missouri.
Okay, when it comes to, in this era of inflation here, competing to keep and attract businesses, I mean, Illinois is practically begging them to come across the river here with their policies. What can the state either do better policy-wise or stop doing to make it business friendlier in Missouri to be more competitive?
Well, one of the things that I'm big on from being a business guy, and I meet with a lot of business people, I call them ghost taxes, is regulatory reform. I think tax policy, as we just talked about earlier, is a big piece. We have the investment in infrastructure we just talked about earlier. That's a big piece. But regulatory reform, we have to be in an area that we're not doing things that are unsafe for citizens or the neighborhoods that people are opening up in, but we can't make it ridiculously hard. And so I have a plan to actually put together a group within our own administration that will be nothing but when they're working with these projects or looking at companies to move here, they're going to blow the sand out of the gears. They're going to be the people that say, wait a minute, we have some bureaucrats stopping this over here because of paperwork and it's ridiculous. If you can make it clear to companies that you're open for business, that you have a business-minded solution, that you're focusing on business and what it does for our economy, that's going to be our best selling point.
So does that include maybe sifting through the regulations now and bringing something to the legislature and saying, hey, this is outdated?
Well, whatever we can do by executive order, let me be clear on that. If we have some ridiculous ones, we need to make sure that gets done. But yeah, that's part of our economic development package, is to make sure we look at regulatory reform as well.
All right. Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe, I really appreciate you coming in and braving that St. Louis construction traffic.
Well, thank you guys for being a good conservative voice here in St. Louis. And again, I can't thank you enough for being a voice for No on 3. I'm really have a lot of faith in the grassroots on this effort, and I'm really hoping we can take that thing down.
Your first morning news dump of the day comes your way here in about 2 minutes and 32 seconds, right after this information segment here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. What happens next?
Iran calls Israel's strike over the weekend unlawful.
Happens right here.
That you cannot send 200 ballistic missiles into Israel and expect us not to react.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Seavers JCB is where you need to go for the industry's best compact track loaders, featuring the iconic single-arm JCB power boom and side door entry. JCB compact track loaders are stronger and safer than conventional twin-arm machines, and they deliver the power and performance you need. For a limited time, get financing rates as low as 0.99% on new JCB compact track loaders, or take a generous cash incentive. Stop into your local Seavers JCB or visit SeaversJCB.com.
On December 19th, gather with the people who keep us safe. The David Dorn Foundation invites you to Cheers and Charity Christmas Happy Hour at Toy Drive. If you have a heart for our heroes, join us for just $20. Enjoy a festive evening of food and fun. Kids under 12 are free. Bring a toy or gift card for first responder families in need. Santa will be there for photos with the little ones and the big ones too. All the proceeds help our heroes. For details, visit dornfoundation.com.
Your heating system isn't getting any younger, and waiting might cost you big. Katie here at Elite Comfort Experts. With new government mandates and 2025 manufacturer price hikes, delaying a replacement means paying more. But here's the good news. You can save now with tax credits, utility rebates, and easy financing. No gimmicks, just guarantees. Don't wait for your old furnace to quit for good. Call Elite Comfort Experts today and replace your system before prices go up. Call Elite at 636-887-0971.
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. We are looking for election workers for the upcoming general election. We need patriots to step up and get involved. We also invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. And we remind you to vote no on 3, yes on 7, and no on Prop A on November 5th. For more information, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Looking for a new or premium pre-owned car? Let's start at Ackerman Toyota. Now, you can check what's available and coming at ackermantoyota.com. But I truly encourage you to visit Ackerman, just south of 44 on Hampton. Ackerman has the largest customer lounge. You can relax, take your time. So you'll start at Ackerman, and you'll end up at Ackerman. And thank you for making Ackerman Toyota number 1 in 2023. Ackerman Toyota. Ackerman Toyota for life.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL Haunted Garage. And we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right. It's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. For my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the monster mash.
He did the mash. Honestly, this is one of the more fun days. More fun days for the bump music.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my goodness. Well, let's see here. Bobby Pickett.
Bobby Boris Pickett.
Bobby Boris Pickett.
In his laboratory.
Classic. All right, a lot to cover here today. A lawsuit is filed over early voting in St. Charles. Are you going to be able to vote today or not? I've got the answer for you. Also, Proposition A will be decided on Tuesday, obviously, on the Missouri side. Let's dig into what it is and what it is not. We're going to do that at 8:05. And you know what? It's Halloween. I want to hear your ghost stories, people. I want to hear your paranormal stories. Let's do that a little bit later on today.
The Morning News Dump. Are you joking? Is this a joke? Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
All right, St. Charles County election officials say early voting will continue today as scheduled. You're seeing probably a lot of news when you're getting out and about today. An injunction has been issued in response to a lawsuit filed by a St. Charles County Republican Central Committee man, Travis Hines. Travis Hines says he was not allowed to act as a Republican challenger or watcher at the Element Church location. Kurt Barr telling the media that they are going to appear at the hearing on the injunction on Friday. But as of now, they plan to continue early voting as scheduled, despite the injunction. We'll go into more detail on that in just a little bit here. Okay, in the campaign, the presidential campaign, we are now at the boogeyman. We are now at the boogeyman stage of this. So let's see here. Donald Trump was on, he was on Hannity last night. Guess who he was talking about?
If they won this election, our country is finished.
She's going to raise everybody's taxes. Every company is going to move out of America. We're not going to have any. She would force them out of America.
If we move out of this country, can we go to the Bahamas? Okay. I'm just going to talk to the Bahamas about that. And of course, the vice president is going with the boogeyman stage of campaigning as well. She was in Wisconsin.
This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power.
But what was the crowd yelling there? What was that wave of what they were doing?
I don't know.
that was just noticed that. I'm like, what is that weird thing reaction they're doing? I don't know. 'Tis the season. All right. It is now officially that very sad time of year. Very sad time of year when there is no more baseball.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh
well,
no.
At least not Major League Baseball. After having a 5-0 lead after 4 innings, the Yankees just freaking fell apart and lost Game 5 of the World Series to the Dodgers. Final score in New York was 7-6, giving Los Angeles another championship.
Number 8, I believe, for them.
Yep. They still haven't caught up to the Yankees by any means, or the Cardinals for that matter.
That's right.
That's a lot of championships. Freddie Freeman was the MVP, which was a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Trisha Burns, state representative, the mom fighting for education, safer communities, and a better local economy. As your rep, I fought to freeze senior property taxes, expand Highway 70, and help usher in Mercy Hospital in downtown Wentzville. I will continue to fight for your family, our economy, and our health. I ask for your vote November 5th so we can continue the fight.
Paid for by friends of Trisha Burns. Trisha Burns, Treasurer.
Ready to explore the underwater world? Great American Divers, your veteran-owned local scuba center, is making waves with incredible offers. Get $50 off any new open water course when you mention News Talk STL. And mark your calendars. November 8th and 9th is our massive fall sale. Everything in store on sale, plus our huge swap and sale event for quality used gear. Daddy certification, equipment repairs, we've got it all. Our experienced staff is passionate about teaching, and we're the only center in the area with our own indoor heated pool. Visit GreatAmericanDivers.com today. Great American Divers, where adventure runs deep.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-pressure colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Are uneven concrete surfaces causing you headaches? Polytime Concrete Leveling and Restoration has the solution. We're a veteran and family-owned business offering long-lasting solutions for all your concrete problems. From precision concrete leveling to our superior restoration services, our precision polyjacking outperforms traditional mudjacking any day. Call Polytime at 636-487-3282 for a free estimate, or visit itspolytime.com. Mention Newstalk STL and get $125 off any job of $600 or more, or 10% off your service.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. If you think you've heard it all in the midst of the heated presidential campaign, you just might want to think again.
How do you like my garbage truck?
Former President Trump at the wheel of a MAGA garbage truck. That's his response to President Biden, referring to Trump supporters as garbage. Quoting Mr. Trump, Joe Biden should be ashamed of himself if he knows what he's even doing. And Kamala Harris, trying to distance herself from Biden's remarks, continues harping on the abortion issue, referring to Mr. Trump.
He would ban abortion nationwide.
Actually, Mr. Trump has repeatedly said that abortion is an issue that's best left to the states, and that's what has happened post-Roe versus Wade. The Supreme Court giving Virginia the green light to enforce state law by removing non-citizens from the voter rolls.
The emergency decision marks a loss for the Biden administration, which convinced lower courts to reinstate the registrations because the removals took place too close to the election. The court's three liberals, Justices Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, publicly dissented. Earlier this month, the Biden administration sued Virginia election officials over the 1,600 people removed from the state's voter rolls. Republican Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin issued an executive order in August formalizing the program. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
The latest North Korean missile to be test-fired flew higher and longer than any one that came before, according to Japanese defense officials. The ICBM thought to be capable of hitting the continental U.S. Tragedy at the Falls. New York State police say a 33-year-old mother climbed over a safety rail and intentionally went over Niagara Falls with her two youngsters, 9-year-old and a 5-month-old. And the Los Angeles Dodgers 2024 World Series champs, defeating the Yankees 7-6 last night in Game 5. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures down 213. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Do you want anyone with everyday aches and pains? I've got a question. What are you missing out on? Probably a lot. So let me tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. In about 3 weeks, you'll discover what it's like to feel better. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4RELIEF.
Last year's RV trip, we met a couple with the same bumper sticker. What are the odds?
Your cousin isn't a good storyteller.
He was a podiatrist, or was it a pharmacist? Huh, you don't say. Oh, I can't remember.
But she owns an RV protected by Progressive, and you don't. So until you get your own RV, her stories are the most interesting stories you've ever heard.
Wow, interesting.
And when you do get your own RV, save money by bundling it with your home, auto, or other vehicles with Progressive.
Oh, anesthesiologist. He was an anesthesiologist.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Rain shuts down and moves out this morning as a cold front scoots on through. Behind that front, breezy winds shift out of the west and northwest, while temperatures stall in the mid-60s. Skies gradually clear this afternoon, leading to nearly ideal conditions for trick-or-treating this evening. Looks good. Lighter winds, dry weather, temps dropping into the 50s. We kick off November with sunshine and crisp fall temperatures tomorrow. Low of 43, high of 63. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Taxpayers, it's time to take a stand. Meet Robert Krupp, a Navy veteran and your Republican candidate for State Senate District 1. When it comes to lower taxes, Krupp's not budging an inch. No new tax increases, no nickel and diming working families. Krupp's a man of action standing up to the tax man, unwavering like a red, white, and blue flag flying high in the wind. This November, vote Robert Crump, a strong fighter for lower taxes. Robert Crump.
Paid for by Crump for State Senate 2024. Chris Clark, Treasurer.
America Decides 2024.
Harry J's Steakhouse in Moscow Mills brings you Election Night 2024. You have to get out and vote. Election results, analysis, and opinion from the local conservative voices you know and trust.
Republicans, Democrats,
Independents. Coverage begins next Tuesday night at 7 with St. Louis's true conservative voice.
right here.
News Talk STL. Brought to you by Piccadilly Palace and Patriot Powder Coating and Iron Bear Customs. News, analysis, opinion.
The biggest thing that we need right now is protection, and I feel like Trump is the right person.
Kamala Harris, when she said, I'm speaking.
101.9 and 94.1.
Every single solitary vote counts.
News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
We have a hope.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
What do you call a genius in President Biden's Homeland Security Department? A visitor.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL. Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
Good morning to the people of St. Louis.
Welcome to our laboratory.
Oh, I like that. That was pretty good, Stel. Thanks.
Nice.
That was not bad.
Yes.
All right. So, is there early voting happening in St. Charles County today or not?
Oh,
Going to clarify it for you. There's
okay.
a lawsuit filed.
There's a or not.
Right. There's a yeah.
Okay.
Depends on who you ask, but I'll give you the answer here in just a second here. All right. Don't forget News Talk STL's newsletter. Actually, it just came out yesterday, I guess it was that I just got mine. And boy, but does Joey V and Tony and everybody works on really, really good job with that. And you go through the whole thing in about 3 minutes. It's just a fun read. If you're not subscribed to it, just go to newstalkstl.com and subscribe to the newsletter. Totally free. No, we don't spam you with a bunch of stuff. But in that newsletter, you will be the first one among the first to get notices of new station events and happenings and things like that. So be sure to check that out when you get a chance. Okay. There might be some confusion over early voting in St. Charles County. Is it happening or is it not happening? So here's what's going on, guys. There was a lawsuit filed in St. Charles County against Kurt Barr, the director of elections, and against the elections entity there.
Okay.
One of the St. Charles County Republican committeemen says he went to the Element Church satellite voting location and wanted to be a challenger or a watcher, and which are legal on when the elections are happening. And he was told, no, this is early voting. We're not actually counting the votes yet.
Right.
So he filed a lawsuit saying they denied watchers and challengers. And the judge in the case issued an injunction. So originally there was a bunch of news articles that said early voting halted in St. Charles County.
Oh, wow.
Because of the injunction.
Okay.
Well, Kurt Barr, the director of elections, who was actually just on the show this week, he says that he talked to their counsel and they don't think the temporary restraining order, the injunction rather, I should say, they don't think that stops them from allowing early voting. There's a hearing tomorrow on the injunction. So if you show up to vote, as of right now, you will be able to vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. Gosh.
Yeah.
Why is it so complicated?
I know. But here's the thing is there's watchers and challengers. One is somebody who is there with the kind of embedded with the people who are taking your ID and, cross-check and make sure on the list.
Right.
And they are able to go, you're ineligible.
Okay.
Look.
So basically before even a vote is cast by an ineligible voter, somebody should be there to be able to challenge the people that way.
Right. And both Republicans and Democrats are allowed to do that.
Right.
And then there's the other part of this, which is where when the votes are being counted, they're allowed to represent the parties and say, no, that one should count. No, that one should not count, whatever the case is.
Okay.
And so the argument that Kurt Barr was making is that the votes are collected in the early voting, but they're not counted until election day.
Right. That was how he was. That's how I took it.
That's how I understood
when he was describing it. Yes.
So, but because he did say that, he said votes are being tabulated, or counted in the machines. The argument that's being made is that, okay, well, if they're being tabulated or counted at all, we have a right to get there and watch. Now, I don't know if this is an official position of the St. Louis or the St. Charles, rather, Republican Central Committee, or whether it's this one committee man who's objecting to it.
Right.
But whatever it was that he's saying, the judge ruled that there's enough there to issue that injunction. So we'll know more for sure tomorrow. But as of right now, if you show up in St. Charles, you will be allowed to vote.
Okay.
Unless something changes in the next 3 hours.
Man. It's just
or 2.5 hours.
It's gotten really complicated all of a sudden.
Right.
And I guess part of it is, with what early voting does in relation to the law is it begs a number of questions that I guess weren't quite answered.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point because we're still kind of figuring this out as we go along. Especially with early voting becoming this big. I was chatting with Mark Harder, St. Louis County Councilman, yesterday. He was in on Vic's show, and he stopped by my desk, and we were just chatting. And he said we looked it up. There are like 630 some thousand registered voters in St. Louis County. Just to look at some numbers here.
Mm-hmm.
In the first 6 days of early voting, there were 100,000 votes cast.
Right.
Mark says he's being told that there could be over 200,000 votes cast.
Right.
Okay, so let's assume 75 or 80% voter turnout if it's really high this year, which is very possible.
Mm-hmm.
So let me grab my calendar here. Let's do this as we go along here. So just to tell you how big of a deal the early voting is, so 630,000. And if you have, let's take on the high end 80% turnout, which would be extraordinary, but
right.
let's just say, okay, that would be 500,000 voters.
Right.
So it's possible that we could have 200 to 250,000 voters
just in early voting.
So half of the voting could happen
before Election Day.
Yeah.
And that's never happened before.
No.
Right?
No. Not even close.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah. So there's a lot that we're sorting through on this. And I suspect over the next few hours, we're probably going to have more information on what's happening with the St. Charles County case as well. All right. By the way, it is 6:11 right now. Okay. So there was an investigation into the Lucas Coons shooting.
The Lucas Coons. I was trying to put that together. It's like, wait, the Lucas Coons shooting. What was?
Right.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Was it an investigation regarding accuracy?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So yeah, the sheriff's department,
they needed a closer look, so they put a scope on it.
Right. Oh yeah, from literally 30 feet away. There's good news and there's bad news for Lucas Coons and all this.
Okay,
here's your target, 30 feet away.
Jeez, let's make it metal. So as anytime somebody gets shot, there has to be a criminal investigation. Them's the rules.
Okay,
that's the way it is.
All
so this happened. His photo op where they were shooting AR-15s, him and Adam Kinzinger, that was in Clinton County. And so, in case you haven't heard, I suspect everybody has, he and Adam Kinzinger were doing we're the bros and we're shooting and we're really not anti-Second Amendment, because we're shooting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
sure did.
They were shooting their AR-15 long guns
at close range
at metal targets. And the investigation from the Clinton County Sheriff's Office says it was approximately, their words, 10 yards.
10 yards,
30 feet away.
30 feet.
They were shooting a long gun at a metal target at 30 feet. And part of one of the bullets ricocheted off and hit a news reporter out of Kansas City.
So dumb.
Oh my goodness.
So dumb. It's worse than I thought.
30 feet.
I guess the angle on the picture gave it a little more, made it appear a little further than what we were thinking. But 30, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like I said, if I was going there, I was like, hey, I'm going to shoot with these very important people. And I brought my guns with me and I saw that setup, turn right back around.
That's right.
I'm getting around. I'm getting out of there because these guys don't know what they're doing.
So the investigation said it was obviously an accident. There was no malice there, which is correct.
Oh, well, duh.
Which is true.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
But they had to
do it. Yeah.
And so they've declined to issue any charges, which is correct. But the bad news is that for anybody who knows anything about firearms, it's just showing that Mr. I'm a former Marine Coons was using ridiculously stupid judgment when it comes to being around a firearm, shooting at a metal target 30 feet away. Now confirmed 30 feet away.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, so I guess if you were wondering what percentage of Lucas Coons is Marine and what percentage is politician, you now know.
Right. Exactly. So no criminal charges in the case because under Missouri law, it turns out, I looked it up, you are not allowed to charge somebody with acute felonious dumb.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Yes.
But anyway, after the election, after Lucas Coons loses this race against Josh Hawley, he'll have plenty of time to work on his marksmanship. Just saying.
Hey, should felonious stupidity be a charge?
In a just world,
because if you cause harm to somebody because you were dumb,
yeah, it's like you didn't break any rules, but Your Honor, come on.
That would be
That's
argument.
the prosecution.
That would be the
Your Honor, come on.
That would actually be the standard, right? It's like it's there's shadow of a doubt, reasonable doubt, and then come on,
and then the standard defense would be, I got
I got nothing.
Come on.
I got nothing.
And then the ruling would be take the gavel and you know.
If you know, you know.
It is what it is.
That would be super entertaining.
That's
If they put that on YouTube, they'd make all kinds of money.
The Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show quest for judicial reform.
I bet they could pay for some sheriff pensions with that.
Ooh. Shots fired in another way here. Oh my goodness. All right. By the way, it's Halloween.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I want to hear everybody's stories.
Ooh, it's spoopy season.
That's right. I want to hear that. And you would be surprised at how many people say that Halloween is their favorite holiday.
Yeah.
Favorite holiday.
Mm-hmm. Weird.
Yeah. Let's have that conversation around 6:20 here. Because I'm going to take a break. And then 6:35, actually, we got some reports that say the economy is actually doing better. What's that mean to us?
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Missouri's Amendment 3 is cleverly worded to convince you that it only allows abortions until fetal viability. But it has loopholes that allow for abortions through all 9 months of pregnancy. Abortion proponents used to say safe, legal, and rare. But now they want abortion as common as the morning after pill. Plus, minor-age children will have access to sex change surgeries without parental consent. Vote no on Amendment 3.
Paid for by Leadership for America PAC, John B. Royal Treasurer.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there is a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency, we're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
Here's some expert advice from McGuire Moving and Storage. If you have a home or business move coming up, you need to book now. Most moving companies are booked 6 to 8 weeks out. So call McGuire now, get an on-site estimate, set a date. McGuire has 85 years of experience and just won the Spire Quality Award. I can personally testify McGuire goes above and beyond to help the clients. McGuire Moving and Storage, McGuireMoving.com.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the Morning here on News Talk STL.
Boys and girls of every age, wouldn't you like to see something strange? Come with us and you will see. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. This is Halloween.
Gabe's into this.
I love this movie for some reason.
I've never seen it. I have to watch it.
You must.
I don't have anything against it. I
You
just
must.
never got around to it.
Brace yourself for the big, scary day. Be prepared to face the most chilling sight of all, the ballot box. The one when the scariest of humans crawl from out of the shadows. There's no hiding as spine-tingling choices assault your soul. Get ready for the vote that haunts you. This election day, courage is your only costume.
The ballot box.
Yeah, that's it's funny with the Nightmare Before Christmas. I just never got around to it. My son, who's now 28, he was not obsessed, but he loved that movie in high school.
Oh yeah,
when he was in high school. I mean, he had like his favorite jacket was the one with the Jack Skeleton, and he had a hat that matched it. And at one point, I almost had to fight him so I could wash that stupid thing because he wouldn't take it off. And I'm like, it stinks, you teenage boy. But yeah,
I just smell like you died.
I just never gotten around to it.
Yeah, it comes on TV now, like as one of the seasonal classics now.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you know, like, come on, Mike, get your stuff.
I know. I need.
I'm kidding.
Well,
No,
you know what? I'm doing.
your schedule doesn't match the same with the rest of humanity. So I get it.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, you know what? Like tonight, trick or treating time, I am hiding in the basement, so maybe I can watch it tonight.
Absolutely.
My wife is like, my friend's coming over. Maybe we'll do the trick. I'm like, enjoy.
Yeah, there you go.
Scream loud if it's a criminal, and I'll come up. But I'm burying myself down
There you go.
All right, 6:22 right now. By the way, I think later on today, I want to hear people's ghost stories.
Yes,
I want to hear them.
Yes, you have those stories where something weird happened, something unexplained. You know, maybe you got abducted by an alien. Tell us.
Yep, tell us all about it. 314-912-1019. By the way, new report on the economy is actually showing some good news.
Okay.
So let's find out what it means to us personally. We'll have that conversation at 6:35. You just mentioned during that information segment, you voted yesterday.
I did.
Okay. So what was the experience?
Okay. So I went to the North County Recplex to vote. Now, this was after, first of all, we have the multiple sites, and I went to that app that we shared on, our show yesterday, and over social media, this app that tells you how many people are in line at any of the sites at any given time. Well, I mean, they reported it like by a half hour, like every half hour of the show. So I checked at it's like 12:01 or something like that, and it said 9 people were in line at the
oh heck yeah.
the break place. So I was like, oh heck yeah. So I'm out there, and now when I get there, it's more like 30 people. But it was like a half hour later.
Because a whole bunch of other people said, "Ooh, 9 people!"
Exactly.
And you all went there at the same time.
Now this was better than some of the other places where there was like upwards of 60, and one of them was like 120 people were in line.
I looked at one point yesterday. It was probably about 10:30 or so, maybe 11, and one of them had like 240 people at one of those locations. Yeah.
Now with that 30 people in line, though, it still only took me a half hour to vote.
So when you got there to the time you were done,
from the
time to vote aside,
I made sure to check what time it was as I was walking and to get into line, and then as I'm coming out the doors, I'm like, okay, well, how long did that take? Yeah, about 30 minutes.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
I mean, in a perfect world, like when the other elections, like in the primary election, I just walked in and out.
Yeah.
Because the one thing about my weird schedule is I'm done, noon, 1 o'clock or something like that before the big rush. And I went into the voting ping and didn't wait at all. And I was in and out in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So 30 minutes, especially for that long ballot.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's actually pretty good.
It was, they had it set up, and they were a well-oiled machine. I'll tell you what.
Oh yeah. St. Louis County, they're smooth, man.
Yeah. They figured it out.
They're doing a good job with the elections, at least from what
They got
I've
the
seen
secret
here.
sauce.
Yep. All right. Halloween, obviously happy Halloween, everybody. By the way, I'm looking at some of the discussion. Some of you on the Rumble chat box, you guys are cracking me up, man. Laura says there should be a lot of garbage man costumes out there today.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah. Okay. I don't have time right now, but a little bit later, 7 o'clock hour,
Oh, you thought McDonald's was fun?
Oh my goodness! Donald Trump is getting so much mileage out of this garbage thing,
trolling the crap out of him.
And the thing is that it was his campaign side's mess up that started the whole thing, And then the Democrats handed it back to him in spades, saying, here's a gift. And they're now running on it. And by the way, so Jay Monty says, I saw someone dressed as a skeleton. He called himself an honest Democrat because he was dead. Like the joke I think I've made it. I've stolen this joke from others and customized it to my family. My grandparents were, diehard Republican voters, and they voted Republican every year, every election until they died, and they voted Democrat. The Chicago style of voting.
Vote early, vote often.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yes, the Democrats see those displays everybody has of cemeteries and stuff in the front yards. It's like, ooh, voters.
That's right.
Well, that was the rumor about 1960 that Joseph Kennedy, when he asked Mayor Daley, hey, we need some more votes to get JFK in there. And allegedly, Daley went to some cemeteries and got names off of headstones. and
so he told Kennedy, we'll dig them up.
Still hit it.
All right. According to the National Retail Federation, we are going to spend Americans, that is $11.6 billion on Halloween this year. Billion.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's a lot on candy.
That's a lot of chocolate.
Yeah. Here's the thing. $3.5 billion on candy, $3.8 billion on decorations. Let me tell you why I believe that.
Okay.
Rachel and I took a walk yesterday just around the neighborhood. The decorations aren't just, one little thing on your porch. People are going all out for those decorations.
Yeah.
It's
getting wild now.
The big inflatable stuff,
when you get lights.
Lights, yes.
The giant skeletons.
Yep. And I saw one that's literally probably 15 feet tall. I mean, I don't know where you get those things. So that's why I believe that. $3.8 billion on costumes, which the costumes are getting so tiny and skimpy. Where are they, where's the money on? I'm just saying. Anyway.
Well, the Spirit Halloween have to pay for their space somehow.
Right. Exactly. Let's see here. 72% of Americans are celebrating Halloween in some fashion.
Yeah.
I am, if you call like going down into my basement to stay away from people celebrating. Celebrating. Let's see here. 67% are going to hand out candy. 52% have put up decorations of some kind. Do you guys have any Halloween decorations?
No,
we don't.
I mean, there is
fall decorations.
There's a carved pumpkin that will when it shows back up because it's going to work with my wife today for a contest.
Okay.
Because she wants to win the little Joker bobblehead.
A carved pumpkin is a Halloween decoration.
That's a Halloween decoration. When it comes back, it's going to go out on the front porch, and so kids know that they can come to us for candy because we're among that 60-something% who are going to give it away.
Yep. Let's see here. 11% of Americans say Halloween is a harmful holiday. 77% say just good, harmless fun. There's the breakdown.
Yeah.
Other 12% say they're not sure, they don't care.
Right.
Or the other.
Yeah. Costumes and candy. I mean, it can be absolutely certainly innocuous, but I mean, I am aware of like the darker side of the world who really get into this stuff. So I mean, it's like everything else. There's going to be a lot of harmless stuff, and there's also going to be the really darker, seedier side.
It's what you make of it.
Yeah,
because you have to be honest as far as witches are concerned and the occult. This is this is their time. These few days here.
They're in that favorite category.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
but
they
for
are.
all the wrong reasons.
How about this? What do you think? Let's start with kids. What do you think the most popular costumes are?
Oh, okay. This year, popular costumes. It's gonna be one of those like kiddie shows, like Blue's Clues. I don't know. It's been a while since I've actually watched kiddie shows because my kid's in her late 20s. Who's
I hate to
Peppa
say
Pig
it. I hate to say Taylor Swift.
Believe it or not, that is not on the top 4 list.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Well, for littles, I mean,
for little kids,
yeah, they're not really.
And it's cold, and that's not very many clothes.
That's not much close.
So for top costumes for kids,
okay,
this is from Google's Frightgeist
Puppy
report.
Patrol.
No, Spider-Man.
Paw Patrol. I mean,
Spider-Man,
of course.
Spider-Man.
Duh.
Okay.
All right.
Then Ghost, and then Princess and Witch are the top.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
For adults,
well,
Taylor Swift.
Based on my recommended in the Instagram reel, because they know I'm a male. It's not much.
No,
it's not much.
No.
Put sexy in front of anything.
Exactly.
It's sexy Super Mario character.
I saw one of those that popped up.
I'm not kidding.
I know. Okay, so number one, witch.
Witch. Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna guess the sexy witch thing.
Yes, of course.
Vampire.
Sexy vampire.
Yeah. I'm not gonna complain about that one. I'm gonna leave it at that. Cat.
Sexy cat.
Okay. Batman.
I've seen a sexy Batman.
I don't want to see a sexy Batman.
Well, it's Batgirl, but
No, sexy Robin.
Sexy Robin. Yeah.
Hey, there were questions. Just saying.
Tights abound.
He never wore pants. All right. So the top costumes for pets are pumpkins, hot dogs, bats, and ghosts for your pets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got the little bat wings for one of our cats. She was adorable. She kind of looked like Toothless, the dragon, because she's a little black cat, and we gave her the little black bat wings, and she's oh my god!
I couldn't imagine either of our cats going for that.
No. So, some cats are weird about it, and they like their costumes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I saw a reel of a cat who had a little mane to make her look like a lion. And she would go and get it and bring it to her owner because she wanted her to put it on her.
Oh, man. All right. Just ahead, the economy. All right. Arrows up, arrows down. Looks like arrows up at the moment. What does that mean to us? Let's talk about that right here. 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Waiting for the next surprise. Now not gonna run, hiding in the trash can. Something's waiting on a punch and roll. Hey, this is Halloween.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Rain shuts down and moves out this morning as a cold front scoots on through. Behind that front, breezy winds shift out of the west and northwest, while temperatures stall in the mid-60s. Skies gradually clear this afternoon, leading to nearly ideal conditions for trick-or-treating this evening. Looks good. Lighter winds, dry weather, temps dropping into the 50s. We kick off November with sunshine and crisp fall temperatures tomorrow. Low of 43, high of 63. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Attention thrill seekers and fun lovers. Did you know the Midwest's largest wooden roller rink is right here in Missouri? Welcome to Piccadilly Palace, your ultimate family entertainment destination. Glide across our massive skating floor, conquer arcade challenges, put your way through mini golf, and dive into cutting-edge virtual reality experiences. And coming soon, a relaxing bar and grill patio, state-of-the-art golf simulators, and heart-pounding two-story go-kart racing next to East Central College in Union, Missouri. Plan your visit now at PiccadillyPalace.com. That's PiccadillyPalace.com.
Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are ignoring kitchen table issues. Liberals are fighting to defund the police, indoctrinate kids, open the border, and put boys in girls' sports. I'm Ann Wagner. The people I talk to know better. Let's work for what matters most. Lower costs, parents' rights, and safer streets.
Ann Wagner is working for common sense solutions to the problems you face. She's challenged the big government machine in Washington and delivered a tax cut for middle-class families. Ann has stood with parents to defend their right to make decisions on the upbringing, education, and care of their children, protecting our kids from radical leftist indoctrination. And as crime rises, Ann has worked to protect our safety by fighting efforts to defund our brave police.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message. So pull up a chair, and together we'll turn the tables on Washington.
Fighting for your family. Ann Wagner for Congress. Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-6766. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
The Allman Report.
Hey, Thursday on the Allman Report, the great Jimmy Carafano as common sense sweeps the world. The Allman Report, News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
It's astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness
takes its toll. But listen closely.
Not for very much longer.
I've got to keep control. Doing the time war.
See, whenever I hear this, I think of the Tivoli Theater in U City.
Oh, yeah.
Because they always used to do it at midnight on the weekends.
Absolutely, yeah.
And folks would get into it so much. There were people there who knew, I think, every line of dialogue
that's
in the
the
movie.
whole thing.
That was amazing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
then did they have the actors up in front of the screen acting
Mhm.
along? Yeah.
It's just a jump to the left.
Damn it, Janet. All right. All right.
I love you.
Not that one. All right. We check in on what's happening with the economy right now, because this is obviously what's driving the campaign. And this is not a campaign or, partisan discussion here, but are things showing signs of improvement? And we look at the GDP report that just came out for the last quarter. Looks like there is some progress on it. We're joined now by Ryan Young from the Competitive Enterprise Institute. And Ryan, so let's sort out what we're talking about here. The gross domestic product GDP report for the third quarter. It shows some growth. Looks like 2.8%. 2.8%, obviously, in most things is not very big. But how does that compare with where we want this to be? Because 2.8% actually is considered reasonable or decent growth in the economy, isn't it?
It is pretty good. And by the way, nice touch with the Rocky Horror.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, all
That
morning.
brings back some memories.
Oh.
But normal GDP growth is about 2%, and we just had 2.8 after a quarter of 3%. So last two quarters have actually been pretty good, and which is good because a lot of polls say that more than half of Americans think the economy is in recession. But the good news is that the last time the economy shrank was back in 2002. It was 2.5 years ago. The economy has grown every quarter since. And the last several quarters, in fact, for most of the last year, we've been well above that 2% normal benchmark. So I'll take it. There are a few clouds on the horizon, but overall, we're in pretty good shape right now.
When Ryan Gabe Pfeiffer here. So I guess that impression that people have of the economy shows kind of the difference between big economic numbers and personal economics. What do the big economic numbers mean to people who right now they're just seeing their inflated grocery bills?
Well, we've been seeing for most of the last 2 years that real wages finally caught up to inflation, which is good. I mean, as we know, prices at the gas pump and at the grocery store can go up every day. If you're lucky, maybe you get a pay rise once a month. So the fact that pay has been outstripping inflation now for, I believe, over a year is fantastic news. We're finally seeing that when you break down what's going up in that GDP number that just came out. Spending is up. People are happy to spend. Housing is down, part because interest rates are high. Investment is down, I think, because of some political uncertainty. Trump might enact tariffs, and then Harris would do all kinds of spending and regulating. Neither candidate is that appealing for economic growth. So there's a little bit of uncertainty there with investment and with housing. But as far as people's day-to-day spending, they feel secure enough where they can actually go out and buy things. So that bodes well.
Are we seeing any sectors of spending that are doing better or coming back to life, or is the spending tending to be on the necessities? Because when we were having that really high inflation and that compound inflation, we had a lot of people who were still spending on the necessities, but they were cutting out a lot of other stuff. I mean, are things getting back to normal when we talk about that spending?
Yeah, and they have been for a while. Everything but housing, and of course, housing's a pretty big part. It's usually the biggest part of any household's budget. So let's not downplay that. But most everything else in a normal household budget is doing pretty well.
Let me follow up on something you just said here, Ryan. We're visiting with Ryan Young from the Competitive Enterprise Institute. You said there may be some clouds on the horizon. We've got some good GDP numbers right now. What are the clouds we should watch for to see if there's something that could, create any issues in the near or distant future?
One is that defense spending accounted for about 0.5 percentage point out of that 2.8 percentage points growth. There's good good reason for that. There's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of bad people in the world, and we have two active wars. Not that the U.S. is involved in, but obviously you have Ukraine and you have Israel in the Middle East. And obviously the military is gearing up in case one or both of those ends up becoming something bigger. I hope that doesn't come to pass. I think all of us hope that. But it's good that we're being prepared, and we are preparing for that to the point where that's actually showing up in GDP data. The other cloud on the horizon is R&D spending. I said that investment as a whole is down a little bit. Usually the first thing to go before a downturn when business investment goes down is research and development. And that's what we're seeing. Everything else is holding somewhat steady in that, but R&D is a little bit down. Some of that might be due to very aggressive antitrust enforcement, especially against the tech sector. They might be figuring why bother, or maybe they're redirecting some of their own resources to their own version of defense spending. So those are the only two clouds. They're not nothing, but the overall picture is better than a lot of people would expect.
Hey there, Ryan Stalpontikas here. Okay, since you mentioned clouds, I'll ask you about personal credit card debt. Does that very high credit card debt that we're seeing bother you or not?
That depends on how much people are doing to pay it back. If the fact that investment is down a little bit would indicate that people are at least paying their bills for the most part. And the fact that a lot of credit card debt does get paid back inside of 90 days is another good factor. So, I encourage people, pay your bills, don't buy things you can't afford. But things aren't out of control. That's usually an indicator of a downturn there. So that's doing okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, when you look at, obviously you mentioned, the two different candidates and the way that businesses and the economy would look at it outside of the partisan type of issues right there. Do we see, regardless of who wins the election, do we see things settle in? Because I've had an economist at one point tell me that certainty, even if it's bad policy, if the economy and the different sectors and the businesses, if they know what to expect, even if it's bad policy, they can adapt to some degree. Some things are just harmful, and it's uncertainty that tends to really cause some problems on there. So when we look at this point before an election, regardless of who's going to win, is there a chance that once we figure out who the next president and what the next Congress is going to look like, that we'll have at least some kind of certainty one way or the other, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent?
Well, frankly, neither candidate's that great.
Yeah.
If Trump wins, we're likely going to see a tariff increase, and it will likely be mercurial as far as how he goes about it. Usually Congress has the taxing power, but Trump likes to just raise tariffs on his own, and there's legislation that lets him do that. We saw last time he would announce tariff increases via tweet. That is uncertainty. But if Harris wins, you could see all kinds of regulatory and tax uncertainty. And I wouldn't say that one's worse than the other. I'd just say that neither candidate is a certainty candidate.
What we haven't talked about yet is unemployment, have we? So indicators are saying that everything looks good, right?
Yeah, once again, more than half of the country thinks we're in a recession, but things are good. For your ballpark figures, any unemployment rate under 5% is pretty good. We're at 4.1% right now. And we have been for 3 years now. So that's good news. Things are starting to loosen up a little bit. Job openings, not too long ago, we're at an all-time record high, 11 million. That's down more in the 8 million area as those jobs get filled, and as things do slightly slow down a little bit in the labor market. That's been a concern over the last 6 months, but really anytime you're talking 4.1% unemployment rate, that's pretty good. So we're keeping an eye on that, but right now things are good.
How many of those jobs do we know? Are those counting seasonal jobs as well?
Yes, and obviously you can adjust for that.
Right.
And one thing I've been keeping an eye on is how many of those new jobs that are getting created are government jobs.
Right,
and
right.
Those tend to roughly track with the size of government as a whole. That's something I keep a special eye on because I love entrepreneurship, I love investment, and government is the enemy of those things. So while we're not seeing the private sector grow faster than the government. At least things are holding steady in that battle.
Hey, Ryan, I imagine, I'm just going to guess there's a lot of people are saying it's still really expensive to get my groceries in. I'm still really tightening my belt. This is still rough out there. When we're being told that, boy, things are better, things are pretty good out there, there's a lot of people that don't feel that right now. Where's the disconnect?
I think one reason is that prices are never going to go back down to their COVID levels or their pre-COVID levels. The dollar has devalued about 20% since then, just over the last 4 years because of inflation. And it's natural to think, well, why can't prices just go back down to that? The reason for that is because doing that would require a round of deflation of 20%. And deflation is just as bad as inflation. So while it makes a lot of sense, why don't prices just go back to where they were a few years ago? That's not going to happen. The best thing would actually be for them to stay steady at that new level and for basically there not to be more new inflation. So far, we're on pace for that to happen, but I do get that gut feeling because prices are not going to go back, where they were 4 years ago.
All right, Ryan Young, Competitive Enterprise Institute. I always wrap things up by asking the same question. People want to follow you. They want to check in with what you and your colleagues do. How do they do that?
Our website is cei.org.
All right, easy enough. All right, we'll talk to you again soon, Ryan. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right, 314-912-1019. Going to dump some news on you here. And then at 7:05, we've got, don't forget, everybody's talking about the presidential election, but we are electing local lawmakers as well. And we've got one of those running for the St. Louis County Council going to be with us. How much opposition is Sam Page going to have? Basically is one thing we're going to be voting on in St. Louis County. We'll talk about that just ahead.
Got to keep control.
Doing the time war, drinking, no moment when.
Well, there you go again, listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
They're literally taking the Constitution and putting it in a paper shredder.
News Talk STL.
Republican Adam Schnelting is a husband, father, and soldier. As an Army combat engineer, Schnelting trained to fight for us, trained to solve problems, and that's just what he's been doing. As state representative, Adam fought to keep men out of our daughters' sports and bathrooms. He voted to cut our taxes and fully fund our schools. And his tough on crime stance has earned him the endorsement of the Fraternal Order of Police. November 5th, vote Adam Schnelting for state senate, and he'll get the job done for St. Charles County.
Paid for by Schnelting from Missouri, Mike Summer, treasurer.
So would you like someone working on your car that says, I only know what I read in a book? No, I don't think so. So do you want a real estate agent that's just doing it part-time? Maybe a hobby? No. You want Jen and Rodney Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, selling 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. And they have so many approved home buyers, they can guarantee you an offer. Here's how you reach them. Very easy. 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. Now, keep in mind, Jen and Rodney, being a wife-husband team, also have a family perspective. They recognize everything involved is sometimes very emotional. And there's no obligation, no long-term commitment. That should put your mind at ease immediately. So reach out right now. 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD, Jen and Rodney Wallner.
Psst. Want to hear the best kept secret in St. Louis? Steph's Pizza. We're not afraid to compare squares. According to our customers, we have the best St. Louis style pizza anywhere, and we can't disagree. Dine in, pick up, or delivery at all 3 Steph's Pizza locations. In Lake St. Louis at 111 Potterfort Trail, St. Peter's on Juggerman, and in St. Charles on Zumbell. Check us out at Steph'sPizza.com. Steph's Pizza. We're not afraid to compare squares.
On December 19th, gather with the people who keep us safe. The David Dorn Foundation invites you to Cheers and Charity Christmas Happy Hour at Toy Drive. If you have a heart for our heroes, join us for just $20. Enjoy a festive evening of food and fun. Kids under 12 are free. Bring a toy or gift card for first responder families in need. Santa will be there for photos with the little ones and the big ones too. All the proceeds help our heroes. For details, visit dornfoundation.com.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here. Join me every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk STL for a little fun with finance. We'll talk about taxes, the economy, finance, and most importantly, how to enjoy the lifestyle you deserve.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Tune in on Sunday and visit serenitynowtax.com for your free copy of my book, The New Holistic Retirement. That's serenitynowtax.com.
Serenity Now! This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, Stan Bongino here, and I'm proud to be on News Talk STL every weekday from 11 to 2. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the Morning.
Casper, the friendly ghost, the friendliest ghost you know.
Weren't expecting that, were you?
No.
Children all love him so. He always says hello.
Again, Stell's surprising us. I don't know most of them that are coming. Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious. All right, a lawsuit is filed over early voting in St. Charles. By the way, Proposition A, we talk a lot about the amendments. This is Proposition A on the Missouri side. Going to be decided, obviously, on Tuesday. Let's dig into what that is and what that is not. We're going to do that at 8:05. And you know what? It's Halloween, whether it is Casper or another ghost. I want to hear your ghost stories.
Yeah.
Let's do that sometime as well here in the next hour or so. All right, 314-912-1019. Let's dump some news on you.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the Morning News Dump.
All right, St. Charles County election officials say early voting will continue today as scheduled. And I know you're just getting up. You're saying, what the heck are you talking about, Mike? It's early vote. Okay, so here's what happened. An injunction has been issued in response to a lawsuit filed by St. Charles County Republican Central Committee man Travis Hines. Now, Travis Hines says he was not allowed to act as a Republican challenger or watcher at the Element Church location for the satellite voting. So he filed an injunction. A judge ordered it. So there was some question as to whether or not voting was going to continue. There were some headlines that say, restraining order issued, halts early voting in St. Charles County. But Kurt Barr is saying that they are going to continue to collect early voting at both locations today in St. Charles County. So if you show up, we are being told your vote will still be able to be cast.
So keep going.
Yep, that's the story. That's where we're at on this. So I've actually reached out to Travis Hines. It was very, very early this morning. He probably hasn't even seen the message yet. So we'll see how that goes. It's a kind of a little bit of a complicated situation, but as of right now, the bottom line is St. Charles County election officials say that you're going to be able to vote. Okay, the Supreme Court ruling on Wednesday that Virginia can resume its efforts to remove non-citizen voter registrations in that Commonwealth. So very clearly, we're talking about people who have self-identified as non-citizens and are on the voter rolls.
Right.
Can I make that any clearer?
Right. This isn't a, hey, you removed my name and I did. It's like I did everything right. You removed my name. I have no recourse before the election. No, this is people who said, I'm not a citizen. Why am I on the list?
Right. Or they handed me a thing and I signed up.
Right.
So Governor Glenn Youngkin was on special report on Fox last night, obviously happy with that decision.
We should not have non-citizens on our voter rolls. And this is a common sense moment. And I can't find anybody that thinks we should have non-citizens on the voter rolls. And therefore, I don't really understand why the Justice Department brought this case.
Yeah, the Justice Department said, well, you started purging those non-citizens,
self-identified non-citizens,
too soon to the election day. You missed your window to remove non-citizens from the voter rolls. And the Supreme Court, I have not read the actual full document, but essentially they said, come on. Come on.
And the defense was, I got nothing.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Well, supposedly it's 90 days out. That's your
right.
Your limit. And if you get past the 90 days and you're within 90 days of the election, you can't do it. But still, it doesn't make any sense.
No sense whatsoever. If you want to challenge somebody because you say, wait a minute, they've got a felony or they're double registered, that covers all of that.
Right.
These are literally people who have admitted
self-identified
non-citizens.
Right.
And when you say it 3 months, it sounds different than 90 days.
That's right.
90 days sounds like, it just was last week. But 3 months.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Decide what you want about Lucas Kuntz's candidacy for the U.S. Senate, but investigators say he's not a criminal for shooting a guy last week.
Yeah.
The Clinton County Sheriff's Office investigated after a bullet ricocheted off a metal target and hit a news reporter at a campaign photo op event. The metal target was about 30 feet from the AR-15.
30 feet from a long gun.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, I wouldn't shoot a 22
No,
at that
I would not.
at that range.
Oh,
my goodness.
The sheriff and the prosecutor say the incident was an accident and no criminal charges are being filed, which is the correct decision. That's what happened. And also there's nothing in Missouri statutes that allow someone to be charged with dumb.
Yeah, his campaign is still in critical condition. We'll find out its fate in a few days.
Okay, so we're in the final days of the campaign, which means we are in the boogeyman phase, where you just tell the world how awful the other person is.
Yes.
Here is Donald Trump talking about Kamala Harris.
If they won this election, our country is finished. She's going to raise everybody's taxes. Every company is going to move out of America. We're not going to have any. She would force them out of America.
That was from Fox's Hannity last night. If News Talk STL is forced to move out of the country, I say we go to the Bahamas. I'm just saying. Here's Kamala Harris talking about Orange Man Bed.
This is someone who is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power.
I don't know what that wave of yelling was there. All right. By the way,
that's their amen chorus.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
All right. After having a 5-0 lead after 4 innings, the Yankees fell apart, losing Game 5 of the World Series. Losing the World Series to the Dodgers. Condolences cards for Gabe can be sent to the station here.
Attention, Missouri Republicans. Donald Trump Jr. has endorsed Amendment 2. Don Jr. calls legalizing sports betting a no-brainer for Missouri. Right now, 38 states allow sports betting, including 7 of Missouri's neighboring states. Amendment 2 will give Missouri fans the freedom to bet too, and that means our money will stay at home instead of going to other states. Legalizing sports betting will generate more than $100 million for Missouri schools without raising property taxes. That's why our Republican candidate for governor, Mike Kehoe, is joining Donald Trump Jr. in supporting Amendment 2, generating more money for Missouri schools without raising property taxes, giving Missouri fans the freedom to bet on games. Donald Trump Jr. has it right. Voting yes on Amendment 2 is a no-brainer for Missouri Republicans. Join Don Jr. in saying yes on 2. Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
For over half a century, Joe Bacardi's has been serving up a little taste of Italy right here in St. Louis. Family owned since 1971, we're more than just a restaurant. We're a local landmark. With 4 convenient locations, we offer something for everyone, from our famous pizzas to mouth-watering entrees and delicious salads. Dine in with a glass of wine or grab a quick carryout. Whether it's dinner for 2 or catering for a crowd, Joe Bacardi's has you covered. Visit joebacardis.com and join our loyalty program. Joe Bacardi's, where every meal ends with buon appetito.
Hello, fans